world's changing. And you are right in the center of it.
I don't know what's ahead, but all bets are off.
Showtime was back, baby, at the Mohegan Sun. They were back for their first card since essentially the beginning of the pandemic. And Angelo Leo taking on Tremaine Williams. Angelo Leo winning. What do you want to say, BC? Something of a runaway fight. A little bit of trouble early, depending on where you want to call it. I had Williams winning, I want to say, the first 3 rounds. I thought round 4 was where the tempo and everything began to turn. He picks up that junior featherweight title, 122 pounds. Looks like he's still going to fight Stephen Fulton Jr., who obviously was out because of COVID. What's the big takeaway from this fight?
The big takeaway is really the storyline that I thought the Showtime crew echoed so well, that 122 pounds, Farhad nailed this. Historically, we don't really get into that division unless there's a big star, a Manny Pacquiao, a Leo Santa Cruz passing through. It has been a while since the Barrera Morales days. This weight division has largely been dominated by foreign fighters who aren't always on U.S. TV. Now we got this group of U.S.-based guys all under the PBC banner. So it's fun to see this, just as it was fun to see Angelo Leo really step forward and make this fight his own. Not the right situation, fighting a guy last minute, adjusting now to a southpaw, his 4th in the last 7 fights. But his early fight adjustment, as you mentioned, I had it 3 rounds to nothing for Tremaine Williams, who, good God, I mean, they mentioned Pernell Whitaker. As much as you don't want to make those kind of comparisons, he looked brilliant early on. To see Leo make that adjustment and walk him down to the body that aggressively, now you're excited for some business at this division. Stephen Fulton Jr., cool boy Steph, who has, a marketable side to him, can talk, can both box and brawl if he has to. The fact that we now have a road to that fight. We got Brandon Figueroa lingering around with a title under the PBC banner. We've got, Aleem on the undercard, who looked fantastic as well, who was originally supposed to face Tremaine Williams. Now we've got some players, some storylines to connect to. So this was a good night overall and a pretty good salvage of what could have been disastrous. For the very impressive launch of Showtime fights to close 2020 that we celebrated, maybe this fight didn't on paper have the star power of the others. Then to lose that biggest star certainly, could have hurt it. But the fights were well done. The COVID was handled well. And we got some people to care about. I don't know if Angelo Leo is a killer. I like the story backline of sleeping in his car, getting promoted by Floyd Mayweather, all that. But he is an exciting fighter. That was a good fight.
He certainly is. A couple of notes here about Leo from Albuquerque, New Mexico. I think he's the most recent champion in boxing from Albuquerque since who? Holly Holm, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's something to consider there. So Albuquerque is still a place of champions, both in MMA and boxing. To your point, this actually, for me, all eyes on the Fulton fight. I got to tell you, it makes it a lot more exciting. Williams was a sturdy challenge in the end. He couldn't figure out once Leo was able to go to the body and get inside and then just rough him up. His work rate was really, really high. He was much more comfortable there. But to your point, making those adjustments at the very last. When did Fulton fall out? Like a couple of days?
Yeah,
before?
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday. So Leo, a very young fighter, now is only at his 20th fight. This was his 20th fight. Making the adjustments. Williams didn't back down, made it kind of tough, took all 3 of the first rounds in my book, although Farhood had it for just the first 2. I just thought this was one of those things where it's like, not only was this great experience for Leo, it makes the Fulton fight whenever they're able to get around to it. And I guess the WBO is going to set that up so within 180 days of the fight, probably sooner, I suspect, it makes it way more exciting. Fulton, to me, is a way better fighter than Williams, but also a bit of a different fighter. And the maturity and sort of also just kind of the blood and guts that Leo showed to get this decision win, it makes what was going to be that Leo versus Fulton fight redone much more exciting the second time around, and also because Leo now holds that 122-pound title. I have to say, you're going to get to it later, knockout of the year to start that Showtime card.
Yes.
For all intents and purposes, boxing has not had a lot of luck. On the top-ranked side, they haven't had the best cards, but even some of their better fighters have fallen out from COVID or they got delayed, like Michaela Mayer, right? So she was able to perform, but not on the timeline she was supposed to. Here, Showtime's first card back, and they lose, arguably the biggest star they had on that card. But I would say, in general, you can't really complain too much with what you got, circumstances being what they are.
Yeah, you can complain about Abner Maris's pink hair, but that's kind of trite and surface level there. I just wanted to double down on that one point. If you're an MMA fan, not that big into boxing, oh, it's so disorganized. It is. Oh, we can't see the best fight the best. Normally we can't. The fact that within certain promotions that are tied to certain networks, they're starting to put a lockdown on certain divisions, right? PBC has 122, 154, for example, on lockdown. You can tune into Showtime and Fox and follow those storylines. At the end of the day, find out who is the best fighter in the world in those divisions. It sounds like something that should be natural, right? We want to see who the best is. It isn't always in boxing, so we celebrate. It's refreshing when it actually is. And I think at 122, a year from now, we may have an idea actually who's the best in the world.
Are you in?
This is our time. The world's changed, and you are right in the center of it.
I don't know what's ahead, but all bets are off.